Ladies and gentlemen, hold me accountable for everything that I say tonight. I cannot afford to waste your time.
John 911, what's the location of the emergency?
Sandy Hook School. I think there's somebody shooting in here. Sandy Hook School.
Okay, what makes you think that?
Because somebody's got a gun. I saw a glimpse of somebody. They're running down the hallway.
Okay.
They're still running. They're still shooting. Sandy Hook School, please.
It's John 911, what's the address?
It's 10 Dickinson Drive in Sandy Hook, Newtown, Connecticut.
Okay, what's going on at 10 Dickinson Drive?
It sounds like there's gunshots in the hallway, and I'm a teacher in the school.
Okay, where are you in the school right now?
I'm in the school, in the classroom.
Okay, do you have everyone in the classroom and the door?
All of my students, the door is not locked yet. I have to go.
Okay,
I have
lock
to
the door down. Keep everybody calm, keep everybody down. Get everybody away from the windows, okay?
Okay.
Where are you in the school?
I'm in the hallway when you walk in the front entrance if you take a left.
Okay, all right. Try to lock down the school, okay?
We're trying, okay.
All right, bye-bye.
John 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Sandy Hook Elementary School, 12 Dickinson Drive.
Okay, I've got that. What's going on down there?
I believe they're shooting at the front glass. Something's
Okay.
going on.
All right, I want you to stand in line with me. Where are you in the school?
I'm down the corner.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sandy Hook touched my heart. If we don't come together as a country, as a people, we are in serious, serious trouble.
"20-year-old Adam Lanza launched his massacre at home. Officials say Lanza shot his mother Nancy multiple times, killing her in her bed. Lanza then took 4 guns legally registered to his mother and drove this black Honda to Sandy Hook Elementary School, about 5 miles away. Students there had finished reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Then, around 9:30 Friday morning, staffers in the front office heard popping noises. Lanza entered the building carrying a Bushmaster AR-15 assault rifle with 2 semi-automatic handguns inside the pockets of his military-style cargo pants. Police say he was also carrying hundreds of rounds of ammunition in multiple magazines. The precise sequence of what happened next is unclear, but we do know Lanza headed down a hallway towards the section of the school containing the classrooms of the youngest students. There, he killed 20 first graders, shooting all of them numerous times with the .223 assault rifle. 6 adult women, including the principal, the school psychologist, and teachers were also killed. The shooting lasted about 10 minutes. The slaughter ended as the first police officers arrived on the scene. The officers heard a final volley of shots. Lanza had used one of the handguns to take his own life.
So let me see if I can try and go through the official narrative so we can hear what the official story is. You ready? A 112-pound, 6-foot boy who never had any presence on the internet before somehow got a hold of 4 giant guns and an even bigger rifle and shot his mother on top of a beautiful white down coverlet, leaving only a raspberry jam flavored stain and no blood or spatters on the walls anywhere. Then he took all that weaponry, managed to park in front of a school. Then he manages to shoot his way into a window, but somebody conveniently moved the pamphlet thing out of the way so it wouldn't fall down. Goes in the window, manages to kill 26 people, perfect shots, everyone's dead except for I think 2. And then for some reason he goes back outside and puts the big rifle into the trunk of his car where it can be discovered later by somebody else. And then what happens is somebody shows up that we don't know who, decides everybody's dead and tells all the ambulance people and the emergency medevac helicopters, don't bother coming, they're all dead, we don't need you to check this out. And then the children are left there until that evening, so that the coroner tells us the next day that the children were all removed in the middle of the night and none of the bodies were shown to their parents. And this was all, at least the evacuation of the children was photographed by a lady named Shannon Hicks, who had plenty of time to reframe the shot. How'd I do?
As Rich said, I was a Florida State Trooper. Take a look at me, 80 pounds ago. That's a lot of donuts. When you become a law enforcement officer, they trick you with these donuts. They start with one, then you got a dozen, and look what happened to me. I'm going to sue them. I can tell you this, when I came to this country, and when I joined the service in 1966 during Vietnam, I took an oath. Ladies and gentlemen, it means something to me. When I got out of the military and I became a Florida State Trooper, I took an oath. It means something. When I got out of the Highway Patrol and became a U.S. Customs agent, what did I do? I took an oath. When I became a naturalized U.S. citizen, what did I do? I took an oath. And even when I became a teacher and a school administrator, I took an oath. Ladies and gentlemen, I've traveled this country from one end to another. I get hired by school superintendents and school board members to look at their schools and come up with emergency management plans, do school safety assessments, and make sure that these principals have a plan in the event there is an emergency. In 1994, when I became a director of school safety, the first thing I realized in my school district of 65,000 students, we had no plan. How in the world do you run a 65,000 student school district and not know what you're going to do if there's a shooting? So we did have a shooting. We did have stabbings. We did have gang members. And then the superintendent says, Wolfgang, write a plan. We sold 10,000 of these all over the country. This is a color-coded emergency management plan, and we pray to God that no school district ever has to say the words code red. Breaking news, shots fired, Connecticut. Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't take my eyes off the TV. I'm a national school safety consultant, and they had me hooked. Ladies and gentlemen, Sandy Hook touched my heart. All day long, I could not get away from that TV. In the first week, I actually donated money to the Sandy Hook Promise Fund. Because when you have tragedy, the first thing we can do as people of this country is we donate. I donated. And a week later, I finally woke up. Something is not right. 9:35:43, the first 911 call comes in. It's from a lady called Barbara Halstead. Her husband happens to be the fire chief at the Sandy Hook Volunteer Fire Department. I go to the call for service report that the 911 dispatchers are supposed to maintain, right? What am I looking for at 9:35:43? What should that call for service show me? Shots fired. Guess what it says? Unwanted person. What? Response code, medium. That didn't even have a high priority code. It should have listed what? Shots fired, because that gives you the highest priority. It's an all call, all hand on deck, everybody's hauling butt. And how did I verify it? I go to the incident reports. Guess what the incident report says? Unwanted person. There is not one mention ever of shots fired at Sandy Hook.
John 911, what's the location of the emergency?
Sandy Hook School. I think there's somebody shooting in here. Sandy Hook School.
Okay, what makes you think that?
Because somebody's got a gun. I saw a glimpse of somebody. They're running down the hallway.
Okay.
They're still running. They're still shooting.
We had 911 calls coming in, 4 of them, in a matter of 7 minutes, and every one of them screaming, shots fired, and they send out the call as a trespasser. It's 9:40, police arriving. The first one is Sergeant David Culligren. He says in his report, we responded, I parked my vehicle halfway down Dickinson Drive. Now you got to visualize what Dickinson Drive is. Fire station, okay, it's on Riverside. Fire station, Riverside 12, it's going to the school, it's a long drive. He stops halfway down and he says in his report, "I'm waiting for other units." Newtown Police Department has a police chief named Mike Kehoe. They have a captain named Rios. They have 4 lieutenants and a management staff. You do not hear one word from any of those managers until an hour and a half into the transmission. Question, where are they? Guess who controls the entire event? Sergeant David Colgren. And all of a sudden at 11:42 a.m. on that day, you never hear another word of Sergeant David Colgren. Now guess who shows up? Another lieutenant named Cinco, Lieutenant Cinco. Now he's the guy who's working that morning at an off-duty construction site, off-duty. He has a Newtown police officer named Fagol, a female officer. She's a K-9 officer. They're working maybe 2 miles from Sandy Hook. They hear the call, shots fired. What should they do? I don't know what y'all's protocol is. If you're off duty, you're in uniform, you're in a patrol car, you hear shots fired at a school. What do? You stay at your off-duty job or you break away? You go to the shooting, right? These two never leave. They stay for 4 hours. Now this is a lieutenant. At 9:42, nobody's entered the school yet. Not one policeman's in. 9:42, he's running a car tag check on the black Honda Civic. 872 YEO. Takes about 2 or 3 minutes to come back. Then he reaches in, takes out a long gun, long rifle, puts it in the trunk, locks it. He has yet to go into school. What's the higher priority, neutralizing the shooter or running a car tag? There's a Lieutenant Van Galley, Newtown Police Lieutenant, in the hallway, runs into a first-grade little girl. It could be your little girl. He sees her, he grabs her. He opens the door and pushes her into classroom 8. Tells her, get in there, I'll be back when it's safe. Closes the door. Now somebody explain to me what classroom 8 is. That's the room where all the children were shot and killed. And he shoves her back into the room. Can you imagine the emotional distress that the girl is going to encounter seeing all those dead bodies, the body fluids, the blood splatter, brain tissues, and he pushes her in the room and leaves her? That's negligence. We know better. 2 minutes later, 2 Connecticut state troopers go into room 10. They walk in. They see a little boy hiding behind the toilet. Tell the little boy, okay, you're going to be safe. Stay right there. Don't move. We'll be back when it's safe. What's room 10? That's the other room the teachers and children were shot and killed. And that's where Adam Lanza is supposedly shot and killed himself. And they leave that little boy behind the toilet? That in itself raises a red flag. No police officers would ever leave a child in that position. They would take him with them. They would get him out of there. But the only way you can ever find out the truth is you ask the right questions. And what you do is you use a mechanism called freedom of information, and it's the best way to get public records. Connecticut FOIA is basically a government agency that says you have a right to know. Any person has a right to know when the governments spend taxpayers' money, okay? You have a right to know. And you know what? I'm asking them using school board policies and procedures. These questions are so simple. They're not offensive to any parent. It's not offensive to any of the children. And when you refuse to answer simple questions, to me, serious red flags. Who was the person, the incident commander, who refused to pick up the phone and call the trauma helicopters? Who's the incident commander that morning who did not ever allow the paramedics and the EMTs to enter Sandy Hook Elementary School based on their sworn police affidavits. They were told to stand outside in the triage area where you see the red tarp, the yellow tarp. They were to stand there and not come inside. The next three people that go into school is Colgren, Officer Smith, and Officer Seabrook. Not one of them is a paramedic or an EMT. So who declared all those children dead within the first 8 minutes? As the rescue team is coming into the school, the incident commander should have done what? Trauma helicopters with doctors. Think about it, children shot. Put the trauma surgeon in from Hartford, Connecticut. Put him in the trauma helicopters. Get him in the air. Not one of them was even requested to lift off. I called them.
I know how we do business on Long Island. I know what's available to us as far as
Right.
EMS. What's available in the backwoods of Connecticut?
They got a 13-minute flight time. Hartford, Connecticut had two lives.
To a trauma center?
To a trauma center, 13-minute flight time. And you know, to this day, not one ambulance ever showed up at the front entrance of the school. Are you going to tell me that they carried a child that was seriously shot 3 to 11 times? They carried it all the way up Dickinson Drive, up to the firehouse to put in an ambulance? You see 7, 8, 9 ambulances at the firehouse? What is wrong with that? Then I saw the truck delivering porta potties, 11 porta potties. Hey, here's my question for you, firemen. Whenever have you had the worst mass casualty shooting in elementary school history and all the fire trucks are sitting at the fire station? They're all shiny, they ain't moved. And the worst traffic control ever seen. They blocked ambulances, people from coming, but they did get the porta potties there on time. It took me about a month to figure out who the owner of the porta potty company was. It's called Chatfield Porta Potty out of Southbury, Connecticut. I called them up. I said, I want to know who ordered them.
When were they ordered?
When were they ordered? Who paid for them? She called the police. The Southbury Police Department, a sergeant called me the next morning, said, do not ever call the porta potty company again or you'll be arrested.
For what?
Huh? Harassment. Now, I want you to call the porta potty company. And here's the thing, they got a porta potty company in Newtown, Connecticut. They got 2 of them. The entire campus is a crime scene. That means no one, no parent or anyone else is allowed to enter the crime scene. And they're actually delivered within 3 hours of the shooting. Here's my question to you. I want to know who the incident commander is who ordered porta potties. But they won't order trauma helicopters? Do you know they never let paramedics and EMTs inside the school the entire day? What if that's your grandchild in there? They got kids out in the parking lot at 10:09. Remember that when Shannon Hicks from the Newtown Bee Associate Editors taking these iconic pictures that appeared on every front page of every newspaper in the world. She's standing in the middle of the parking lot at Sandy Hook Elementary School, and they're still looking for a second shooter. But they don't let one ambulance, they don't let one EMT or paramedic inside that school. How does Shannon Hicks get into a crime scene when they're looking for the active shooter or shooters?
We did not bring the bodies and the families into contact. We took pictures of them, of their facial features. You have it's easier on the families when you do that. There is a time and a place for up close and personal in the grieving process. But to accomplish this, we felt it would be best to do it this way, and you can sort of you can control the situation depending on your photographer, and I have very good photographers.
We need to look at the emotional part that somehow we're forgetting. Look at this thing as parents, and the one that I still cannot believe is that Dr. Carver, who refuses to allow those parents to come in contact with their children at the morgue. He decides not to let any of those 20 parents to see their child in the morgue. How is that possible? I am telling you, if that was your first grade girl, first grade boy, you would knock people to the ground, because you're going to be in that morgue, you're going to be in that room, and you're going to hug your girl, your boy. I'm not going to let my little girl die and be in that room all by themselves. I'm going to be with them. This is what parents will go to. I saw it at Columbine. They broke the 3 barriers. I have seen parents climb the fence, storm the office. When your baby is in that school and somebody is shooting, that is your child. You're going to do whatever it takes. I never saw that at Sandy Hook. And that's my 26 years of national school safety training all over the country. I don't see it at Sandy Hook. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see it.
Who has a 99.9% kill rate, shooting children in a school within 8 minutes? There isn't an FBI agent, there isn't a Navy SEAL that's that good of a shot within 8 minutes and then kill himself. I mean, that's reasonable doubt. Adam Lanza could not have done that. I mean, he's an autistic child. He's got Asperger's. And remember that big old sign they had posted out there, everyone must check in? Remember that big old sign, flashing sign?
Yes.
Everyone must sign in or check in. Well, one of my FOIA requests is I want a copy of the list of all those that signed in on that day. They won't give it to me. Why? See, taxpayer money paid for that sign. Taxpayer money paid for someone to type it in, the message in. So therefore, if taxpayer monies were used, I should know who signed in and where they're from. You know, I've been asking this FOIA question, who's everyone? I mean, think about it. What if you don't sign? Are there consequences if you don't sign in? I mean, it says everyone must sign in. So that's a directive, I believe. And if you don't follow those directives, are you going to be arrested? And so I requested under the FOIA laws a copy of the sign-in log. And for 19 months, I have yet to get it.
We have established a point of entry. It was, I can tell you, it's believed he was not voluntarily let into the school at all, that he forced his way into the school, but that's as far as we can go on that.
Picture 16 highly trained Connecticut State Troopers entering this window at Sandy Hook Elementary School with their long rifles.
Now, what you have to do when you post a picture of that shot out glass window, it is 42 1/3 inches high. It is 35 1/3 inches wide. Now, people have to picture these Connecticut SWAT team members and state troopers trying to crawl through that window. The Three Stooges are smarter than that. They would send Curly in the window, open the door for the other 2. But try to picture 16 of them. And you know what makes me angry as a state trooper? When I used to have to fill out those reports, they're sworn testimony. I can go to jail for falsifying it. But when they're looking inside, there are Newtown police officers are already inside. Why would you, to the window, would you please open the door? Why would you risk getting cut on the broken glass? We actually found the only footage, live footage, shot by a helicopter. It's the only footage, Alex, that has a timestamp on it. When you see the people chasing each other in the woods, and they're showing these people running into the woods, because guess what? They announced that a teacher just reported seeing 2 shadows running by the gym. Well, that footage was not shot till 12:23 in the afternoon. Now, why would you chase somebody in the woods after lunch? The school was safe and secure by 10:35.
As I explained to you in previous press conferences, we've done everything we need to do to literally peel back the onion layer by layer, okay, and examine every crack and crevice of that facility. And that does not include, or exclude, I should say, the outside of the building. The outside of the building is also a part of the crime scene, every single vehicle in that lot. So it's going to be a long, painstaking process.
I've requested copies of all work orders from March the 1st through December 13th that were initiated by the principal, the assistant principal, or the head custodian on any type of maintenance work orders. I want you to open your heart, open your eyes. And the only way you'll ever understand this is if you're about to enroll your child in this elementary school, and what you're about to see, would you enroll your child? And take a look at the first picture. This is a school that every national news media, the second day after the incident, talked about what a pristine, what a vanguard school, what a picturesque. It is the school that made people from all over Connecticut move to Sandy Hook just so they could enroll their child in that special school. Look at the bushes, all overgrown, and what do you see running down the side of the building? It's mold. Now think about it. These are kids. It's an entrance. It's a main entrance. The picture should speak for itself. Look at the rotten wood. This is an exit to a playground. How in the world do the wheelchair kids get out of the back of that school, out of these portables, when they don't even have a ramp? They're not even ADA compliant. Broken gates. Now this picture was taken on December 14th, 2012. And if you look at the writing, it's already been marked that somebody's going to do some heavy duty digging. See the initials on the asphalt? Call before you dig. There's a construction bin by the storage shed. Everything you look at, it looks like it's been so neglected. Look all at the base of the wall. Look how moldy it is. Air conditioner in December. What happens, most school districts will remove those air conditioners and they patch up the window. They don't follow code. They don't follow procedures. And again, hanging wire. And take a look at the roof. I have their 5-year building maintenance plan, and the roof in 2010, 2011, inside that plan, which I have, there was no money budgeted for 210, 211, no money budgeted for 211, 212, no money budgeted for 212, 213. It also said that all the carpet inside that school needed to be replaced. Serious safety violation. The maintenance of this school is totally ignored. If there's one thing that I believe in, is that we have pride. We have pride in how our school looks. This is mold, this is mildew. And then if you look at the grass, that is long-term neglect. And again, take a look at the mold. I mean, this stuff is growing. It does not happen overnight. It's just filthy. I don't believe Sandy Hook is a functioning school. Nobody who loves their children would ever send them to this filthy school. I've spent my lifetime keeping schools clean. And I'm going to tell you what, from the time children arrive, I mean this with all my heart, I want my school to be clean. It's called pride. I don't see any pride here. Look at the corners. What do we call this stuff? Look at the bottom of the doors. It's all water damage. It takes a long time to get mucky door frames and wall tiles. That's a watermark. That is a sign of flooding. And again, Dawn Hawksprung would have never let her school look this way. All it shows is neglect. You got room number 11, but you got a teacher placard that says 10. At least they ought to get the door numbers right. I challenge any teacher, any dean of students, assistant principal, counselors, please, as you're looking at this, tell me that's who we are. Tell me this is pride in our education. Please.
It's a very meticulous process. We leave no stone unturned. We take as much time as we need. We use all the resources that we have available to us. We will do that in this case and then some. We'll go backwards as far as we have to go in this investigation, and hopefully we'll stumble on answers and we'll process. We actually have 3 teams now, 3 major crime teams in the community. Our local partners are working with us, and we're going to move that and expedite that along as quickly as possible.
This afternoon I spoke with Governor Malloy and FBI Director Mueller. I offered Governor Malloy my condolences on behalf of the nation and made it clear he will have every single resource that he needs to investigate this heinous crime, and I will do everything in my power as president to help.
To this day, for 13 months, I have been writing the Commissioner of Emergency Management Services. I've been writing the Chairman of the School Board, Superintendent. I have written everybody. I want to know who was the incident commander on December 14, 2012. Is that a simple question? They refused to tell me who was in charge. I want to know who the incident commander was for medical services on that day. To this day, guess what? No return phone calls and no responses. Why?
We as a nation, we as a people, we as a country, we deserve the truth. And I don't understand, 3 years and we can't get the truth? 3 years and we cannot have a congressional investigation? 3 years and we can't have a grand jury investigation? 3 years and the FBI classifies the Sandy Hook school shooting as its top secret investigation. There's something more to the story.
Ever since Homeland Security and FEMA got together under one umbrella, you need to look up the word capstone. Research the word capstone. Do you know what capstone is? Capstone exercise is a whole community event.
Is that what this is?
Yes. Well, Mr. Halby, Wolfgang, how did the whole community get involved in this? Nobody died. It was an exercise, a whole community exercise.
Let me ask you, it's called the capstone event.
Capstone is called a FEMA, a Homeland Security FEMA capstone exercise.
And that came from the president. That's where
it comes from. It starts at the president's desk. What did he use? He used Air Force One to fly into Newtown to pick all of those parents up. And do you know none of those parents live in Newtown today? Wow. Now go to, are you ready? Go to Columbine. 14 students died at Columbine, 23 seriously shot and injured. Half the parents who lost a child still live in Columbine. If you read capstone, okay, it must be an entire community event. It has to be faith-based. All the churches have to be involved. The funeral homes have to be involved. Everybody.
Do you think that the residents in Newtown want to be remembered for the rest of their lives as the town of the massacre? We want to be remembered as the bridge to a kinder new world.
How many people were involved in this conspiracy?
I believe the whole community. I believe the Catholic Church. I believe the fire department. And let me tell you why they did it. They've got over $200 million since that exercise. Newtown has got over $200 million from the federal government. They use it any way they want. $29 million donated by people from all across the country. And then every parent, this is one that bothers me, being a principal, okay? I've had children die in our school. Yeah, we've had fundraiser, but we never paid a parent $281,000 because their child died in our school from us. Each parent got $281,000, and they complained because they wanted more. Are you ready? Not one lawsuit by any of the parents had been filed as of today. Why would they not file a lawsuit? On the flip side, every parent was paid $281,000, and those parents actually wrote a letter to the Attorney General, George Jepson of Connecticut, saying they want more money from all the donations. They're complaining they didn't get enough money. Yes. an old police officer. Yeah, no.
Are you saying he told you?
Yes,
No, I
you
didn't
did.
say no.
Yes, you
No, I
did.
didn't.
I just
You're
recorded
looking
it.
for a problem. I didn't say.
I'm not looking for a problem. I'm going in doing just public work.
They don't want to give you that.
Excuse me? You're a non-profit organization.
I'm gonna have the sergeant come here.
Where's my attorney?
I'm right here.
Here's my attorney.
It's a 501c3. You have the right to inspect
Listen,
the books at any
Let
time.
the sergeant come here and figure it out, okay?
Well,
That's the way you can do it.
You're not going. They don't want you.
No, what's your law for doing that?
They don't want you inside right now.
So what? They're a non-profit. They get federal funds. We have the
We'll
right to
figure it
inspect-
out, okay?
And he's called many times.
Okay.
I've called.
What do you mean you'll figure it out? You're obstructing us from inspecting the books of a 501c3.
Right now,
We haven't even talked
They
to
feel,
him.
they look at all
Anybody
of you,
can say they feel threatened. That's a bunch.
And we have a job that we have to come here and make sure everything stays peaceful.
Okay.
Right? I mean, that's fair, correct?
Okay, I'll just go by myself with my attorney.
Let me wait till my sergeant gets here, okay? And then he'll make that determination, okay?
We're polite. We're very respectful. All we want.
You weren't
is-
really polite and respectful to me right away either, okay? Let's call it
Well,
what it is.
when you get in my face,
I didn't get in your face. You came into my face. Are you walking to me or am I walking towards you now?
I'm standing there.
Okay. Are you walking
No,
towards
I'm
me?
looking at you.
Okay.
I used to be a police officer.
Okay, then show me some respect.
Okay. How about the same from you?
I will. When you start showing me some, then I'll start showing you some.
I could see it.
Right?
Yeah. I could see it. Okay. Very polite, very courteous. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's fine. That's the way I operate. I hope you do.
I do.
Okay. We'll have no problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Unbelievable. Can you imagine no murders in Newtown in the year 2012? The FBI has to keep accurate records. They keep it for the whole country. Why do they do that? Because that's how the federal government allocates grant monies to states so they can fight violence. Now here's Sandy Hook. They've already got over $200 million. For what? There's nobody who died in 2012 in Newtown.
One thing that's becoming somewhat of a concern, and that is misinformation that's being posted on social media sites. There has been misinformation coming from people posing as the shooter in this case, posing using other IDs, and prosecution will take place when people perpetrating this information are identified. Again, all information relative to this case is coming from these microphones, and any information coming from other sources cannot be confirmed, and in many cases it's been found is inaccurate. So I simply, that's the newest twist today, that we want to make sure that's perfectly clear that social media websites that contain information relative to this case are not being posted by the Connecticut State Police, are not being posted by the Newtown Police, are not being posted by any authorities in this case. So any of that information and people that are putting that information up there in any manner, all right, that can be construed as a violation of state or federal law, will be prosecuted, will be investigated and prosecuted.
Earlier today, a tragedy of unspeakable terms played itself out in this community. Lieutenant Governor and I have been spoken to in an attempt that we might be prepared for something like this playing itself out in our state. Hey, how are you?
Hey, Governor
Hi, how are
Wolfgang
you?
Halbig.
Hey, how are you?
I'm just asking one question. Who shared with you on the national news and the Lieutenant Governor that somebody told you something like this at Sandy Hook would happen to you here in the state?
Nope. Not me. Some other damn Malloy.
Oh, you look good on television.
Well, thank you very much. But
No, somebody, you said,
I didn't. I never said that.
someone told me and the Lieutenant Governor that something like this might happen. Nobody? If I can get it recording, send it here, would you look at it?
I'll look at it.
Thank you, sir.
Lieutenant Governor and I have been spoken to in an attempt that we might be prepared for something like this playing itself out in our state.
Call your congressman, senator. They won't respond to you. Tell them that you want a copy of the FBI report. Tell them that you want a congressional investigation. They do not want to talk about Sandy Hook. Why? They're your senators. They're your congressmen. They work for you. They do not want to talk about Sandy Hook. And so here's my question to each one of you tonight. Do you honestly and truly in your heart believe that Sandy Hook actually happened? Yes or no? No. All right, number 2. Do you believe that children and teachers actually died on December 14, 2012, Sandy Hook? Yes or no? No. Now, when I asked the question of people all across the country, I did it on an airplane coming in here today. Do you believe it? They all go, yeah. How did you learn about it? The news told me. They actually believe the national news as a means to seeking the truth. They don't even have the courage or take the time to ask questions.
I used to teach American government. In the last year and a half, executive order, are you ready for this? Signed without congressional approval, allows the national news media to use propaganda in all of their news reporting.
My sensibilities may not be the average man, but this probably is the worst I have seen. It's a good thing there's not being prosecution, because then I couldn't answer that. But if I say it in court, they yell at me and don't make me answer. So, no, I don't.
How young?
Sorry, I don't.
How young was he?
If I attempted to answer it in court, there'd be an objection and they'd win. They're wearing cute kid stuff. I mean, they're first graders. They're wearing cute kid stuff.
Did they set up a tent in the parking lot?
It wasn't a tent. It was this magnificent thing. It's sectional and it sticks together with Velcro. It's from the Department of Emergency Management. I hope they and I hope the people of Newtown don't have it crash on their head later. But.
Either that piece of paper from me that says somebody's dead, or occasionally a huge pile of evidence to convince them. So we didn't know if that's what killed her. We didn't know if she was dead before it happened, but we certainly knew she was dead afterwards.
Hi. As you've probably noticed, I'm not the president. I'm just a citizen. And as a citizen, I'm here at the White House today because I want to make a difference, and I hope you will join me. My name is Francine Wheeler. My husband David is with me. Our younger son, Ben, age 6, was murdered in his first grade classroom on December 14th, exactly 4 months ago. This weekend.
I can't tie my shoes. I can't tie my shoes. How do grown-ups do it when it just gives me the blues? I'm never so confused as when I try to tie my shoes. Maybe I'm too slow, can't make that little bow. I pull the laces tight and then I almost break my toe. I only get confused when I try to tie my shoes.
I've never asked for anything. Not from you or anyone. Now it's my turn to be selfish. It doesn't matter to whom these weapons were registered. It doesn't matter if they were purchased legally.
The principal, who, God bless her, lost her life, was just a very special person. And all the parents knew that.
2 years ago, I called my 8-year-old son an asshole. Thank you. You know, how's that for great parenting? You know, in my defense, it was a stressful situation.
Could you describe him again?
He was naked.
That's it? No height, weight, hair color?
A very special person. And all the parents knew that.
This and then run down here. And...
It was awful. It was awful.
You doing okay, hon?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. We were actually running to the house to get her teacher a pair of shoes.
What happened? What did they tell you?
They didn't tell us anything. Only what she knows, which I don't know if that's, accurate. So we don't have any information. I don't know.
If that weapon had been in place, he wouldn't have had that gun. But what happened instead, 22 decades ago, was that the assault weapons ban was left to expire. And they had started at that time, the CDC had started researching on ways to prevent gun violence. And what happened instead was that the NRA and the NSSF got a hold of some of our elected officials, and they were able to get them to stop trying to find out ways to get information to prevent gun violence. While we weren't looking, we weren't paying attention. They changed the laws. They let these things expire. I'm gonna mess up.
Well, I think that a lot of things that people hear aren't true. And I know the first couple days I was just getting angry because I was hearing things that I knew didn't happen.
Take us back to that moment. When did you first know something had gone wrong?
Hearing loud popping noise, and I could see him from the knees down, see the legs.
Right in front of you.
20 feet away, facing his boots were facing my desk.
And then he turned and walked away?
And then it was seconds, and then turned and walked out.
And you were there for the next 4 hours?
Nearly, yeah. It was 1:15 before, we were petrified, and we didn't know how many there could have been. And we were listening. You couldn't hear a whole lot, but we did. We heard screaming and the gunshots. And
Richard and Krista Rico say that talking about their Jessica brings tiny moments of comfort.
And she was a ball of fire. She ruled the roost.
Our little CEO, we called her. She was the boss.
I knew exactly what she was wearing. I knew I was going to see her little ponytail come around the corner, and her jacket and her black glittery Uggs that she had on that morning, and I knew I was going to see her, and I didn't. They finally, around 1:15, asked everybody to sit down, and they said that it was a tragic day in Newtown today, and 20 children were killed.
I was amazed at the strength that Grace's parents showed. They say it is Grace who is guiding them through these difficult days. What do you want people to know about Grace?
Well, Grace had such a great spirit. She was a kind and gentle soul, and she was just the light and love of our family. And I remember that morning, putting her on the bus. She had a habit of blowing kisses, but then she'd give me a big little liver lip, like, but then I knew she was so happy to go off and get there. So sure, we have anger and we're upset and we don't know why. So we'll just take the lead from them, and we will not go down that road, but we'll let them guide us.
It's a hard thing, though, isn't it, to not feel that?
We're going to go on, and we're going to use her positive energy to help guide us forward.
So we'll see if Robbie Parker, I assume he's going to come out to the microphones now and make a statement. Looks like the family is there, and they're getting ready to come to the microphone, so we'll listen in.
Okay. So my name's Robbie Parker. My family is one of the families that lost a child yesterday in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shootings here in Connecticut. As the deep pain begins to settle into our hearts,
we find comfort reflecting on the incredible person that Emily was. I guess that's it. Yeah.
It's about emotions. It's about how people respond to a tragedy. I didn't see that at Sandy Hook, did you? Parents, when I was a state trooper, the job I did not like is having to go to somebody's house at 3 o'clock in the morning, knock on that door, and do what? A death notification. Ladies and gentlemen, when that light comes on, they look at me, we had Stetson hats on, and they know something's wrong. I'm about to give them the worst news that they could ever get, that their son or daughter just died. You want to see emotions? You want to see heartaches? Their life was just destroyed by my news. They hug me, they grab me, they cry, they won't let go of me. I don't even know these people. And by the time an hour passes, I actually have to take them in my car and take them to the morgue to identify the body. Yes, ma'am. Why? The reason that I believe there is such a push from Democrats. They truly believe that this country needs to be without guns. Right. And there is a reason behind that. It really scares me. When the United States government, Homeland Security, buys over 3 million rounds of hollow point bullets, who the hell are they for?
Billion.
Can I tell you what? It scares me.
6 million.
Huh? Sorry, 6 million. I'm old. When I was a state trooper, we were never allowed to carry hollow points. We actually would get fired if they called us with them. Yes, sir. As soon as you hear Sandy Hook, the first thing that the Connecticut legislature did, they passed the new gun laws. Within a month, 350,000 residents of Connecticut became automatic felons because they didn't register their guns. These are people who owned their guns, they bought them, they owned them, and now they're supposed to turn them in.
The tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary appears right now to have been a tipping point for a national conversation about gun violence, one we've not seen in a long time.
They can fire 100 bullets in a minute if people know what they're doing with them.
We have to convince the Senate to come together and pass common sense gun responsibility reforms that will make our communities safer and prevent more tragedies like the one we never thought would happen to us.
My name is Bill Begg. What's my inspiration for coming tonight? I'm the parent of 3 Newtown students. I'm a grammar school track coach. I'm the president of the medical staff here at Danbury Hospital. I'm with the newly formed group of United Physicians in Newtown that formed in response to the December 14th shootings. I'm the EMS medical director for Newtown and this region, and I'm an ER doctor that was on shift December 14th. What's my goal in the next 2.5 minutes? My goal is to somehow convince you legislators that gun control measures that you hopefully will enact will make a difference.
At every level. One thing that I think is clear with young people and with adults as well is that we just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people into thinking about guns in a vastly different way.
It's now been 5 days since the heartbreaking tragedy in Newtown, Connecticut. Over these past 5 days, a discussion has reemerged as to what we might do not only to deter mass shootings in the future, but to reduce the epidemic of gun violence that plagues this country every single day. That conversation has to continue, but this time the words need to lead to action.
And I challenge you too, everyone that's watching this today, you can take those questions that I'm asking and ask them of your school board, and they'll answer you. I go up to Newtown, they are stonewalling me. When I'm in front of the school board, they've got the state attorney, Stephen Sedensky, who wrote the report, sitting in the room. Now, what is a state attorney doing listening to me speak?
This is my official license from the state of Florida. I am a licensed insurance adjuster, and I'm licensed in all lines: property insurance, casualty insurance, auto insurance. So I am an adjuster, insurance adjuster. I just never told them that I'm an insurance adjuster. So when we're looking at the documents, I'm looking at them if I were an insurance adjuster, see if they complied with all the laws. So if you really want to find out what really happened on that day, on December 14th, you do look at the insurance because you had property damage. Well, number one, most school districts, when you have damage, the first thing you do is you file insurance claims, if they're true and accurate, okay? We asked today for the appraiser's report, okay? Like, you know, I'm an adjuster. I wanted to see the adjuster's report on what he found, what his recommendations were, what the settlements were. We have nothing, absolutely nothing. I've been filing FOIA requests since February 27th, 2013. I think every parent, grandparent, everybody in America has a right to know the truth. Every administrator, every teacher who works in our schools, they have a right to know what kind of environment they work in. But guess what? We should have been here today. But guess what? Monty Frank from Coleman Wolf is off bicycling. But bicycling is more important than finding the truth. Now, what is wrong in Connecticut?
That America is tired of the gun violence. That Congress must act. And each day that Congress does not act, it remains complicit in the gun violence that occurs every day and takes lives. We urge you to pass a ban on high-capacity magazines, like the 30-round magazine that killed 20 students and 6 educators at the Sandy Hook School.
There is a stack of documents attached, right?
Which are not relevant to what I was asking for. You send me documents that
Is there a stack of documents
Well, absolutely. You send me documents.
Reading. Stop you there. It's minutes of December 17th, 2012. You see that?
I didn't ask for the minutes. I did not ask for the minutes of December the 17th. I cut it, correct.
And that's what you asked for, isn't it?
Nope, I asked for consent agenda attachments that explain what's on the agenda.
Stay with me, Mr. Howard.
I got you.
The first bullet point says item number 1, consent agenda. You see that, sir? Yes or no? Here as the town. Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, but that's what you're doing it to control the documents. I'm going to the custodial records.
Did I read that correctly?
I read it, but I'm asking the school board.
Please answer my question. Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, absolutely.
That does not have responsive documents, right?
That can't be true.
But that's how the town responded.
Well, that's great, but I'm not.
Please answer my question. Is that how the town responded?
That's how you responded.
And you're here today because you just don't believe it. Is that right?
I'm not getting it from the right end. I don't believe it.
And the town responded that it does not have that document, right? Isn't that what it says?
Yeah, but you have nothing. You don't have any documents. I mean,
isn't that what it says? Answer my question. Isn't that what it says? That the town does not have responsive documents.
Absolutely, but you have documents from nobody.
And you just don't believe that, right?
I don't believe you. I don't trust you.
And I'll also note as a further objection that request 1A is not a request for a document. Hearsay. It assumes facts that are not in evidence. Hearsay. I'm going to have an objection to this, so hearsay.
Figures.
For some reason, you're under the assumption that we did not supply documents, and we complied entirely with the document list.
Everyone must check in, but the town didn't put it there. Who do you think put it there?
I believe Homeland Security put it there.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
No, hang on a second. I think the response from Mr. Hauser is completely inappropriate. There's no evidence whatsoever that the first selectman was here voluntarily.
I just said thank you.
It is what it is. The testimony is what it is.
I just said thank you.
It's completely uncalled for, and I've asked that it stop immediately.
Let's try and keep doing things just.
No more thank yous, okay.
All right.
I've never ever, after we issued subpoenas for people to be our witnesses, to show up and verify that those documents exist, the attorney for the school board, the city of Newtown, and the Newtown Police Department, they told our witnesses not to show up. Now, when have you ever heard of that? He's an officer of the court. How does he tell my witnesses not to show up for this hearing? And you know what? They didn't show up.
So, Mr. Halbert, you're here today because you do not believe that the town has porta potty records or responses in connection with the sign-in sheet. Is that right?
No, I believe the school board, I believe the school, I want this on the record, I believe the school board has the records. They have school board policies. They're required to show the expenditure, taxpayer dollars.
Do you have any reason to believe that I was not responding on behalf of the Board of Education, the town of Newtown, and the Newtown Police Department?
I do not believe.
Turning your attention to the next appeal, which is 823. Yes, sir.
It's been a long road, and it's been a long time coming. It's been since April 25th of 2014 that these requests were first made. Every step of the way we've been met with delay, and I said it before, obfuscation. I think it's up to the Commission to safeguard the rights of citizens like Mr. Halbig, who come forward and ask for this information. This is precisely the moment when this Commission ought to safeguard the rights of a citizen such as Mr. Halbig.
I just respectfully request that
the town produced all the witnesses that were subpoenas, with two exceptions. Kevin Ancelotti, for good reason. With respect to Kathy Gumbs, she was never called, so there's nothing in the record on that second day to indicate whether she was here or not. She was the principal at the Sandy Hook School now. She was not the principal on 12/14/2012. I think it's a matter of...
Again, I appreciate that it's viewed as a minor violation. I think the claim for civil penalties is outrageous, and I just respectfully request that the court be affirmed with that one clarification.
Commissioners, I'm going to be out of order. That's full. I know, but he's lying.
You don't have a right.
You're right.
He actually is the.
I'm the complainant. That man is lying.
You don't have a right to speak. You can come forward.
I don't. Never have met a liar like this man here. I tell you what, we're talking about children's safety. And I guess Cohen and Wolf appointed Monty Frank as the representative. But what's finding amazing is I don't see Monty Frank ever at school board meetings. Now, I've never seen in Florida, when we have school board meetings, there's always an attorney sitting at the head of the table. How do you conduct school board hearings, which are state statutes, the state laws, and you don't ever see Monty Frank at any school board meetings? I've got an email last night at 10:57 p.m. from my attorney stating that they wanted to cancel this hearing today. Can you imagine? I've got a $600 plane ticket. They emailed me at 10:57 last night saying they're going to cancel the hearing. And I tell you what, I got on that phone and I raised all kind of hell. And you know what? I am sick and tired of being pushed around. I might be 70 years old, I might be a senior citizen, but I ain't stupid. And I know the games that they're playing here today. Answer the goddamn questions and I'll go away.
So, Mr. Halbig, what is it that you actually thought you were going to get when you asked for these documents?
Well, I was looking forward for January 23rd on the consent agenda. When the board approved that consent agenda 5-0, you should have seen field trips for 26 children going to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, which is an out-of-state field trip, which has to be approved by the principal, the superintendent, and the school board. Nowhere on any of those documents have I reviewed, can you find that field trip signed and approved. That's what I'm looking for. And it should be on the consent agenda, and the reason I say that, sir, is because if you look at the document that he just provided to me, you can actually see a field trip being approved on the consent agenda. Field trips are approved on consent agendas. You just cannot find the one that I'm looking for, and that's why I picked January the 23rd, because that's the last possible date for a field trip to be approved going to the Super Bowl out of state.
Ladies and gentlemen, in celebration of our beautiful country, performing together the Sandy Hook Elementary School Chorus from Newtown, Connecticut, and Grammy and Oscar Award winner Jennifer Hudson.
Here's a question I have for everybody who's listening. Where are the 26 kids from the Super Bowl? Where did they go? What are their names? Why were they given a gag order by the NFL and CBS Sports never to talk about what they saw at the Super Bowl? Who gives little children a gag order? Board member, superintendent, a little over a year ago, I sat in this chair, and I asked you for help about asking questions about an incident that happened in your community. Tonight, I pass out one page, and it has to do with your board agenda tonight. It talks about celebration of excellence. I cannot tell you how proud I am tonight. I got goosebumps. When I see a boardroom as a former principal, when I see this boardroom packed, standing ovation, when you got children in this room and you recognize them for all the good things they've done, I mean, I'm telling you, I've got goosebumps. That's what you're about. That's what you're about. You got kids here, parents. That's what we want. Standing ovation, standing ovation. But I'm upset, and it bothers me to this day. Board members, you allowed, under your watch, 26 children from the Sandy Hook Elementary School Choir to go on a field trip all the way from Sandy Hook to New Orleans to sing in the Super Bowl. Can you imagine those 26 children, the pride that they brought back in the healing process of Sandy Hook and Newtown? Those 26 children sang before over 100 million people around the world. These kids brought love back in your community. But I looked at your school board agenda, February the 2nd, 2013. They sang at the Super Bowl win, February the 3rd, 2013. You know, not one of you board members said one thing about their performance. Read your school board minutes. Not one of you acknowledged the fact that they did a great job, that they were excellent in what they did. I don't understand that. That's what your job is. How could you ignore that? I mean, I'm about to fall out of this chair. These are somebody's children who traveled on a field trip. They represented you, and you don't even acknowledge their singing? And then, how in the world could you not bring them, those 26 children, the chorus teacher, and their families into this boardroom and reward them with excellence? They represented you. When they are introduced as the Sandy Hook Elementary School Choir, they're representing the school board. They're representing their parents, their community. And you know what? You can ignore me. You don't have to look at me. But I tell you what, you didn't bother to bring them into this room, to shake their hands, to hug those children,
Excuse me.
In my
sir.
3 minutes up, I
Your
know.
3 minutes are up. Yes.
I agree with you, but let me tell you something. If I were you, I'd do the right thing and bring those 26 children here, bring their parents, bring their chorus teacher. Why would you not recognize their excellence? I'm ashamed of y'all. I mean, you and I would never be talking if they didn't send those 2 homicide investigators. And I'm going to tell you what, they threatened me. They said if I don't stop asking questions about Sandy Hook, the Connecticut State Police were coming to my home and they're going to arrest me. Then I had 2 deputy sheriffs come to my house telling me that the Newtown police chief wants to know when I'm coming to Newtown. And then they asked if I owned any handguns. And I said, it's none of y'all's business. Now, my wife, my grown sons have been threatened. They've contacted their school superintendents, board members. They've contacted community leaders and trying to get my sons and my wife fired from their job. I got a demand letter. It's called extortion or blackmail. If I didn't get rid of my website by end of August, if I did not get off of Facebook, if I did not get off of Twitter, they have directed me, this group of people have directed me to take it down. And if I did not do that by the end of August, that my family was going to suffer dire consequences. I'm off of Facebook. I'm off of Twitter. I have no website. You know why? They're scared to death that the truth is going to come out. You know, this is what the mobsters used to do in the old day. Remember when we were cops and robbers? They always attack the family. We're going to kill your wife and your children and your grandchildren if you testify in court. Well, guess what? That's where we are today. They're now threatening my family to get me to stop. Yeah, once you bring the family in and they're scared to death, and now I filed criminal charges with the FBI. I have filed criminal charges with the civil rights of the Department of Justice. And I'm hoping that somebody within those departments actually cares about their country. When I raise my right hand, we go into the job knowing we're never going to be rich. We're never going to be multimillionaires. We go in there because I think we want to make a difference in people's lives. It's our calling.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've seen death in Miami. When you're police officers in here, bless you guys. We do it because we want to make a difference. Every law enforcement officer takes an oath. We want to make a difference. When we hear shots fired, our hearts start pounding. We race to get there because we want to save lives. I did not see that at Sandy Hook.
Today, the silence by the best detectives, investigators all across this country, police departments, state, federal, and they're staying silent about Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. How can they remain silent? They have a duty to serve, protect. You know, when you have an incident that affects millions and millions of Americans emotionally, I mean, we were drained emotionally by the funerals. We were emotionally drained by the time this thing took a downturn. But where are my friends? Where are my men in blue? And you know what? Pick up the phone and call me. 352-729-2559. You are a bunch of cowards and you turned against your country. And why do I say that? Because you know better. We don't hold people accountable. Are we afraid? I hope not. I've got to reach out. I've got to find people who still love the truth. This country is in deep trouble, as you know. If we don't come together as a country, as a people, we are in serious, serious trouble. We deserve better. We're a better America than they're making us sound like. This is what America is all about. You know, it's all about communication. It's all about talking, listening.
But it's all of us learning and working together. And you know what Sandy Hook has done? Sandy Hook has created panic and fear all across America in our public schools. We're now building prisons. We're locking doors, we're putting fences up, we got cameras everywhere. What they have done is cruel. It is cruel to use children and teachers as props. And I expect you to hold me accountable tonight. Don't you walk out of that door without asking the toughest questions. Now is the time for us to come together. Now is the time for all of us to be on the same page. There cannot ever be another Sandy Hook somewhere else. What this government has done, and I pray to God that I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to march right into a mental hospital. I'm going to enroll myself. When you walk out of here tonight, every one of us is hopefully going to be on the same page. Talk to each other. It's all about communication. It's about trust. It's not about a power struggle. And we need to spread the word, because Sandy Hook is the domino that make this government fall.
Thank you.
Hey, did you ever sign the appearance notice? You didn't even sign the appearance notice at the hearing. Did you break the law? I just love doing that. I'm sorry.